This is not how I thought my morning was going to go. I thought I was going to come down here and gush about Zack Snyder's Justice League, about how awesome of a movie it was and how epic it made me feel, and how I could not believe that Warner Brothers opted to go with a lesser version of the movie than what we just got a mere 6-7 hours ago. Wait, I don't know. I can't do math. I don't really care. But unfortunately, I can't do that. Although I will say this. I will talk about the movie because it was a vastly superior film to Justice League's version, and it is a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to get into talking about that in a second. But unfortunately, I woke up. So let me set the stage for you. Let me set the scene. So I went to bed not too long after the airing of the Ott and Stuff show last night with my co-host Sean Aaron. By the way, Ott and Stuff, the channel, go check it out. We do live shows on Wednesdays and Fridays. We have indie creators. We have comic book legends on there, and we talk about art and stuff. It's pretty simple. Check it out. I think you'll like it. And if you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and the like button, and share with everybody because I really appreciate it. And I'm trying to grow this channel just like I'm trying to grow the Ott and Stuff channel. So the links will be down below. All right. With that being said, I set my alarm because I wanted to wake up and be part of the crowd that saw Zack Snyder's Justice League as its premiere. And so I got up about 2:30. So here we are in I'm in Michigan, and it'd be about 3:00 in the morning is when it was premiering on HBO Max. So I got up at 2:30, and the first thing I see is Ethan Van Sciver's got a live stream. So I check it out. And the title, which I can't quite remember, is something like Zack Snyder disses the fandom menace. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I watch it for a little bit, and I am completely caught off guard by what happened. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this because there's a lot of people that have already flooded YouTube with videos about this. People that have a lot more knowledge on the situation. They have personal ties to the situation when it comes to Geeks and Gamers and Jeremy and all those folks out there. There's wonderful folks that do what they do on those channels. I don't have any personal ties to these guys, so it's just kind of my opinion of the entire night, how it went. So I watched Ethan Van Sciver's stream. Jeremy was on there being roasted by the fans, which I don't understand why he was being attacked. Apparently because he didn't say something or defend, or the guys on the stream that this happened didn't defend. And let me say this. If you don't know what happened, Zack Snyder went onto a Geeks and Gamers stream. UC's, I can't remember exactly who it was. They were having I don't think it was a watch party, but they were doing, if you've been following them, they've been raising a lot of money lately for suicide awareness. And I think this was a mega fundraising event, and Zack Snyder was going to come on and to be the guest there or whatever. And I think they had raised up to like $25,000 before Zack even hit the screen. And then Zack comes on and proceeds to say that he is not associated with Geeks and Gamers. And then he sloppily ties it into the shootings that we saw a couple of days ago. Now, my opinion on this is that Zack didn't mean to equate Geeks and Gamers and the fan base in that crowd, excuse me, in with that horrible event. I just think it kind of came out very sloppy in the way that he presented it. Now, I still disagree with the fact that you're coming on a Geeks and Gamers channel, even though it's not the main channel, but you're coming on one of their channels to raise money for suicide awareness, and you proceed to come on and then throw them under the bus and separate yourself, distance yourself from them, I think it was a bad move. It was a bad move. And I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder and what I think he stands for, because he's not overtly political like some of the crazy people in Hollywood are. He seems to generally appreciate and like the fans. So this was kind of a hard thing for me to see, and it's very disappointing. It took a lot of the fun out of this morning away, and it took me a second. I had to kind of just regroup myself so that I could watch the movie and enjoy it for what it was. And that's the main thing with this. Like I look at art for what art is, movie, music, all that kind of stuff. You guys separate it sometimes from the creators. I know we live in a day and age right now where everybody wants to boycott. You make your voices heard that way, and I understand, notably so, that a lot of people were upset by this, and I completely agree. I'm right there with you. But I have a strong feeling that, and I could be completely wrong on this. I don't know any of these people personally, but I would hope that Zack would reevaluate the situation after the backlash and the fallout since this morning, since that stream, and really clarify what it is that he was trying to say and apologize and save face a little bit, because I think it's going to suffer the great support that he has had from the fan base, the release of Snyder Cut fandom. A lot of those people were Geeks and Gamers, Comicsgate, people like that, that were really wanting to see his vision, because they could tell what had happened to the man, and how the studio, how Warner Brothers completely messed with this man's vision and put out inferior product, which we saw. If anybody saw the Snyderverse or the Snyder Cut of Justice League this morning, or if you're watching it now, or if you're watching it later, you saw the difference in this movie. So that being said, big shout out to Geeks and Gamers, to Jeremy. You guys were kind of raked over the coals, stabbed in the back, taken off guard. There's a ton of videos talking about this, so I'm not going to go too much more into that, because there's a lot more information out there than what I'm going to provide and know firsthand. But it sucks. It really does suck, and I really hope that Zack comes out and clarifies what it is that he was saying, because I know there's a lot of people already that decided not to watch the movie last night because of this, or this morning, and also that will probably stop supporting Zack in the future. And that's sad to me, because he is such a great filmmaker. He doesn't get involved in this drama. He doesn't call out the fans and diss the fans. Until last night was the first time where, he didn't bash the fans from what I saw, but he did distance himself from people that spent a lot of time and effort to get the word out, to see his vision renewed, and to raise a ton of money for suicide awareness and human trafficking. And they've done a lot of good stuff. So to sloppily put out a statement there, which I'm sure was handed down to him by Warner Brothers, that distance himself from them, and then also in the same hand aligns them with the tragic acts of the last couple days, which I don't think he meant to do, but that's how it kind of came out, and that's how I see a lot of people taking it. So it's just sad, man. It's sad. It's very disappointing. It's not the way I wanted to start this video, because I really wanted to come down here and just gush about the film. So with that being said, that's out of the way. You can check out a bunch of YouTubers. It's all over the place. You can't miss it. If you follow the same people I follow, I'm sure you've already seen 10 videos by now talking about it. So, all right, let's get on though with the main subject. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a far superior version of what we got in 2017. It boggles my mind watching that movie this morning. and seeing how different of a movie it is. And case in point, I have talked to some people on social media, gotten some arguments with groups on Facebook about how different this movie was going to be. And we were just proven right this morning. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be the same sucky movie. There's just going to be some extended scenes, blah, blah, blah. Even though the fact that this movie is 4 hours, over 4 hours long, and the original movie was 2 hours. So for anybody to be taking that stance that this was going to be the same movie and knowing that there was an extra 2 hours, I don't understand it. But this was a completely different movie for the better all around. It was a better put together story. There was better character building, story arcs with the characters. Darkseid was amazing. And I've gone back and forth. Like, I'm going to try not to give spoilers, but just in case, if I do happen to slip up, I'm going to put it out there right now that if you're watching this video, I'm hoping you have already seen Zack Snyder's Justice League. And if you haven't, stop watching this video right now and go watch it, because I might spoil something. I'm going to try not to, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't seen it yet. So this will try to be a non-spoiler review. And not really a review, it's more of just a discussion. But there was only, without giving anything away, there was only a handful of scenes from the 2017 Justice League in this movie that I remember. I mean, obviously, I saw that movie 2 times. So I was in the theater, and then when it came out, obviously I bought it because, it's what I do. I collect them. So I think only 2 times, because it wasn't a good movie. I didn't enjoy it. I thought maybe the second time I would. No. Right off the bat, within the first 20 minutes of this film, you can see how vastly different it's going to be. The opening is completely different. The direction of the movie goes in a completely different direction. The tone is that classic Zack Snyder feel. The way it's shot, the score is absolutely amazing. There were some emotional parts in this movie that I didn't think were really going to get me, but got me. There were some emotional beats in this movie, and it was funny. Ezra Miller, I'm not a huge fan of him as the Flash, and I've made that known quite a bit. And he had a lot of the same, like his character didn't change dramatically from Josh Whedon's version to this version, but his jokes, his humor in this movie just seemed to hit better. It wasn't as cheesy. And I have to believe that that's because, we're seeing what this character was supposed to be like before Josh Whedon came in and changed it around to make him more of the he was already the comic relief. You can see that from watching the movie, Snyder's version. You can see he was already the comic relief of the movie. And it's much needed, like this movie had some very heavy overtones, some serious, aspects to it. So having a character like the Flash, who they kind of made a more Wally-esque aspect, with the comedy than a Barry Allen. But, it is what it is. It was good. I liked this version of the Flash way better than I did in Josh Whedon's version. I think he had a bigger stake in this movie. He had some more intense, dramatic scenes that really made him feel a part of what was going on, and instead of the sidekick role that he kind of got in the 2017 version. I mean, really, in the 2017 version, you could have not had the Flash in the movie, and I don't think it would have made a bit of difference. But there was a purpose for him to be in this movie on a few occasions, and the movie would not have been as good without those scenes. And again, I cannot believe they cut out and reshot and gutted this movie to produce such an inferior version as they did. It blows my mind after seeing this last night. And granted, it was 4 hours, and this was, I think, as much of a pure version of Zack's vision that we were ever going to get. If this specific film had made it and got into the theater, it probably would have still been trimmed down to, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So we probably still would have seen a worse version of this movie hit the theaters, and then would have had to have waited till like the R-rated version came out later, the director's cut, whatever you want to call it, to see the actual version. So I think that's still a problem with Warner Brothers trying to keep these movies so short. Something like this, especially when you are trying to world build in one movie, when you only had 2 movies previous to this to introduce 2 of your main characters in Batman and Superman, and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and then you jump right into, well, you brought in Wonder Woman too and Batman v Superman, but now you're jumping right into the world and you're building this team and you got to create the threat. It's a lot to do, and Snyder did it. He did it, and it was awesome. And you needed the full 4 hours. And let me tell you, the way that this movie sets up the sequels, God, Warner Brothers would be out of their minds not to make at least one more. I know there was originally supposed to be a Justice League 2 and 3 after this, but they would be out of their minds not to at least have one more to wrap up these storylines, because it leaves you the prologue of this movie. No spoiler, but the prologue of this movie leaves you just excited and wanting more for this universe. And my God, there was just something different about the Zack Snyder verse after watching it last night than there was previous. Man of Steel was relatively, I think, liked by a lot of people. I loved it. I thought it was great. Batman v Superman was a divisive film. It divided the fan base. Some people loved it, some people hated it. But this movie, this Justice League movie, I think is what brings it all together. And it was very adult in theme. There was more violence. There was, I think they dropped the F word like 3 times, which was unexpected, but it fit. It wasn't like, let's just gratuitously throw in the F word like they did with Logan. I thought they just kind of went, they're like, hey, we're having an R-rated Wolverine movie. Let's just put it all in there. So it's just like, fuck this, fuck that. But in this movie, I thought they did a good job of it fit the tones. It fit the scenes that it was in, and it made for a more dramatic scene or an intense scene. Let's talk about Steppenwolf. I thought Steppenwolf was one of the worst villains in the history of comic book cinema when I saw the movie back in 2017. Horrible animation, not intimidating at all. His motivation was lacking, very much lacking. And we dive into Steppenwolf's backstory. We realize why he's doing what he's doing. There's some real motivation for his character. The redesign, or should I say the original design of what he's supposed to look like and how he's supposed to act, is way more intimidating. I think he is one of my favorite villains now of any comic book movie that I've seen. It's kind of hard to top Thanos, because Thanos was so well done. The animation was great. The acting by Josh Brolin was great. Everything about that character was really well done. But in some aspects, he wasn't as intimidating as they made Steppenwolf in this movie. His very look was just awesome. I remember some people making a lot of fun when Zack originally released the design for Steppenwolf with all the jagged metal, but I dig stuff like that. I don't care if it's over the top. It's just visually, it's awesome. And the special effects in this movie, the lighting, when he was in certain scenes, just looked great. I'm going to watch this movie again. I can't wait to watch it again, because I know I missed probably a lot. And I doubt I'm going to do a spoiler or a non-spoiler. I doubt I'm going to do a spoiler review. But I'm just going to say right now, it's such a great movie. Steppenwolf definitely becomes a great villain, has an awesome storyline. And it's no secret, it's out there. Obviously, he's been in the trailer, so you see Darkseid quite a bit in this movie, more than I thought you were going to see. And the little he's in this movie does a great job of building intrigue about what that character could be like in the future sequels to the Justice League. So seeing some of Apocalypse, seeing Granny Goodness, some of these Jack Kirby created characters finally hit the screen, I think was awesome. You know, and some people might not like the designs as much because it's Zack's version of what these characters look like, but I think it was great. It was a great design. Uh, all around, Batman is so much better in this film. I'm gonna tell you right now, the scene I hated the most in Justice League 2017 is when Batman is really pushing Wonder Woman and he talks about Steve Trevor and he says that stupid line in his Bat cave or whatever, and Wonder Woman pushes him, and then like the entire team just kind of like abandons him for a second. Like he put that rift in the team in the worst possible time to do it. I hated that. I didn't think it fit, and I can tell you right now that's gone. That whole situation is gone, and Batman's story from the beginning to the end is so much more smooth, and it's more meaningful. And you'll see what I mean, especially the prologue. That prologue made me want another movie so bad, so bad. And you've seen Jared Leto come back. It's not a secret he's reprising the Joker role, and to see this version of Batman and that version of the Joker in a scene together and the dialogue that they share, so worth it. So worth it. Cyborg, such a bigger role in this movie. And I'm not even a huge fan of that character in general, and never have been. But in the movie, he does a great job. He really does a great job. And I know that Ray Fisher has bitched quite a bit over the last year or so, 2 years, about what has happened to him and blah, blah, blah. Again, I really don't care. I don't care. I don't care about actors and their petty squabbles. I really don't care. But the character was cool. It was much, much better. Much better. I could actually get into his character and actually found myself liking his character quite a bit. Aquaman, way better too. Too much of the humor that was brought into the original version of this film from him was gone. He was a much more serious character, and it benefited a lot. And it set up, it did a good job of setting up the Aquaman movie. Even though the tone of the Aquaman movie was quite a bit different than what this probably would have set up, I like these characters in the Snyderverse. When you see Snyder away from these versions, this vision, you see how it suffers. You saw Wonder Woman 1984, how it suffered with Zack Snyder not being involved. They went a completely different direction with that character. The movie was garbage. The story was garbage. The ending was utter trash. Aquaman was good. Aquaman was a really, really good movie, but they changed the tone of the character up quite a bit from what we saw this morning. Superman, some of the only scenes that were very similar was in the Return of Superman. And you'll see what I mean when you watch the film. But even that was vastly different in the outcome. And Superman in his black costume, although they didn't fully dive into the details of why he had the black costume, as far as it was a Kryptonian healing suit, they did do a scene that kind of, if you knew what it was, you got what they were talking about. But if you're just novice watching this film, you have no idea why he's wearing a black suit, other than the fact that it looks cool. And it does. He looks so super cool in that costume. And he wears it for the entire movie. Until, I don't, not that I think it would spoil, but, he wears it for most of the movie. You get to see some characters pop up that were rumored to be in it. It was fun to see those characters and see where they might go if this was ever extended into another movie. The emotional beats of this movie were great. The father-son aspect between Victor Stone and can't remember his father's name in that movie, but was great. It was very emotional. The emotion between Martha and Lois Lane and Clark was great. Very family feel. Same thing when even though they didn't really share a scene together, but Diana and her family of Amazons was felt in this movie. Jeremy Irons was great as Alfred. He had more scenes in this than he had in the original movie, which is awesome because I love Jeremy Irons as an actor, and he deserved some more screen time. I'm glad he got it. Yeah, there's just, I mean, guys, go watch this movie. I know how I started this video, and it doesn't change the fact that I'm still very disappointed in the actions of Zack Snyder. But for those of you that have been campaigning for years now for this to be released, don't let that deprive you of your victory of watching this film. That's all I have to say. This is your victory amongst everybody else. So don't, if you feel very convicted not to watch this film because of what happened, I get it. I understand it. But I'm just saying right now, you owe it to yourself to separate from that for 4 hours. And even if it's, I'm going to watch this once, I'm never going to watch it again because I'm never going to support Zack Snyder again because of everything that happened. I get it. I support you. But do yourself a favor and watch this movie because it is a completely different movie than what we saw in 2017. So completely different. So much better. So entertaining. So epic in scale. Visually stunning. Some really good acting performances that were added. And the score, man. Zack Snyder knows how to score a movie to really pull on those emotional strings and put you through a roller coaster. Anybody that says Zack Snyder doesn't know how to write a movie, follow story beats, tell a story is out of their mind, because I think the majority of his films has suffered from editing and studio meddling. Because if any indication, what we saw last night was his true full vision without meddling, without editing, then this dude he's a genius. He is a genius filmmaker, and he is a filmmaker. This is not a formula-based movie that you see now. Like, Marvel has become very formula-based. All their movies seem to feel the same. There's a formula that works, they stick to it. And I'm not dissing Marvel. I love Marvel movies, but it's different. When you watch a filmmaker put his vision out there from start to finish, you can tell he's got his hands in every aspect of that movie. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, you could feel his presence on that movie. It was not formula based. It was very much storytelling. This is the same thing. So I really hope that Zack Snyder reconciles with the part of the fans that he threw under the bus this morning, and with Geeks and Gamers, who have done an outstanding job of raising money for suicide awareness, human trafficking awareness, and have been very loyal and in his corner for a long time. So I hope he comes out sometime and reconciles. And if he doesn't, that's on you to decide how you want to approach that. I, for one, I'm going to separate myself from the filmmaker like I always do. And if there's another Justice League movie that happens to come out, or I've heard that there's a Green Lantern movie, I'm going to check it out. And if it's good, I'm going to continue to say it's good. And I'm going to praise the work, the art for what it is. We live in a world where people are shitty. People bend the knee. They cave to the pressure. They bow to the pressure. And that's just what it is. We all want to sit here and think like it's an easy thing just for someone to give the finger to the man, so to speak. And it's like, well, Zack Snyder should have, feeling all this pushback from Warner Brothers to say what he said. If that's the case, he should have given it, he should have stood up or something. If it was like, hey, you need to do this or you're not getting your movie, he should have said, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. Well, it's not that easy for everybody. People like us who can say the comic book community, who can say, fuck the mainstream, we're going to do our own thing independently. We have a way easier time to doing stuff. The reason why I'm not going to be so heavy on Zack per se is that this is his livelihood. If he wasn't doing this, it's not like he could just go make these low budget indie films and be able to achieve the scale of the filmmaker he is. At some point he's got to play a little ball with these people, and that might piss some people off, and that might cause them not to want to support him, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's no wrong choices here in my head when it comes to this opinion. How you feel is how you feel, and I get it. I really do. I'm choosing to look at it a little bit different way, but I am showing my support and shouting out to Geeks and Gamers, because that was a really sucky situation for them this morning, and it's disappointing, like I said, to see that all go down. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me for 30 minutes. If you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button. Check me out in the Ott and Stuff channel on Wednesdays and Fridays. And yeah, until next time, be good to everyone. Treat each other the way you want to be treated. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.